Hi and good morning to everyone. My name is Редникова Irina Petrovna. I am a teacher of English at Lyceum number 83 and I'm a Fulbright alumnus. I have certificates of CELTA, CAM, Delta number 1 and 3 and I took TOEFL and CAM. My workshop, which is called Developing Teacher, is part of the challenge, which is called You Can Do It. So let's start. Who is a developing teacher? I've asked some of my colleagues, and the ideas you can see on your screens. So it's the person who enjoys what he or she does in profession, gets on well with students and colleagues. This person is positive, open to new ideas, motivated, and overall very humane. Other people think that this is the one who keeps searching for best solutions, or the person who's ready to develop all the time, or, well, my point of view, that he or she is a lifelong learner. I absolutely agree with all these definitions, and I would say that there can be much more. So what is my idea of a developing teacher? So, I think that I'm a developing teacher, and I studied my way in 2010. At that very moment, I had already been working in Lyceum for 5 years, and I decided to take CPE. I did it in 2010, unfortunately almost with no preparation, and that was my mistake, though I got the certificate. And I am proud of it because that CPE, which I took in 2010, was extremely difficult. It consisted of 2 parts, and I had to go to the center on Saturday, or on Friday and on Saturday. And on Friday I had only speaking, which lasted for 30 minutes, and on Saturday I spent in the center in Moscow, in the examination center in Moscow, for about, 6 or maybe 7 hours, because the exam started at 10 and it finished at about 4:30. But as well, I'm still proud of myself that I did it, because that was challenging, but I coped with this. The next step was TKT in 2011. Unfortunately, at that very moment, I couldn't take it in Ufa. And again, I went to Moscow. TKT is a cool exam because it's a kind of the knowledge which you have to have if when you start your teaching career. Most of the knowledge you get at university, but this exam helps you kind of to consolidate all this knowledge, and maybe with the help of this you can understand what you want to do next. So this exam consists of 3 modules, and you can take them in 1 day, or you can split it in 3 days, and you can take them, for example, anytime you like, depending on the exam schedule. And the first module is devoted to language and background and language learning and teaching. And the topics are, for example, grammar, lexis, phonology, some general knowledge of English, the role of error, learner needs, learner characteristics, something which we know about, and we come across these topics almost every day, or presentation techniques and introductory activities. On this slide, you can see some variants. There are 8 points in every module, and fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, I would say fortunately for those who take this exam, they're usually multiple choice. This, you have got the variants, there are no open questions where you have to write yourself. No, everything is just 100% clear. You just choose the correct variant and that's it. So in this slide, you can see just 2 parts of module 1, and you can do it. You can stop the video anytime you like and you can try. And on this slide, you have the answers. The second module is devoted to lesson planning and use of resources for language teaching. And the possible topics, not the possible, but the topics which you will have to be an expert in identifying the different components of a lesson plan. Well, of course, it's not easy, but we know it. We're familiar with this because we are teachers. We teach every day. Planning an individual lesson or a sequence of lessons, again, absolute 100% connected to our everyday work. And selection and use of course materials, just the same. So again, in this slide, you can see possible examples. You can do them, and here you can see the answers. And TKT module number 3, it's about managing the teaching and learning process. Using language appropriately for a range of classroom functions, teacher roles, and giving feedback. Again, all this information, we know, teachers usually know this information. The problem is that maybe in some cases there is too much information which we know kind of subconsciously or intuitively, and sometimes it's very difficult to find it somewhere in your mind when you really need it. And again, in this slide you have got the example, 8 examples about the examples of about the teacher language, and also choosing the correct answer. It's about the learner language, right, and their possible functions and the answers, of course. So what was my next step? And it was very logical. In 2012, I applied for CELTA, Certificate in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages in Moscow. And I got the position. I was extremely happy at that very moment, and I didn't even realize what I was going to do, what I was going to go through. This course lasted 1 month. I spent this month in Moscow, going to the language center every day, 5 days. 5 days a week. So the classes started at 11 and finished at 9:30 in the evening. So we came to the center at 11 o'clock. We did a lot of preparation. Then we had some input sessions beginning from 1 o'clock. Then we had some lunch. Then we had some input sessions again, connected to teaching grammar, vocabulary, learner needs, and so on and so forth. And then beginning at 7 o'clock, our lessons started. What does this mean? Almost every second day, I had to teach one lesson. The students were the students of this language center, and the problem was not about teaching. The problem was about planning, because every lesson had to be planned in detail, just with really good timing, with all the handouts and so on and so forth. And well, the most difficult thing was the fact that every lesson was observed by a tutor. That was the most complicated and hard and difficult and maybe challenging thing for me, because once I even asked, why didn't you smile here? Well, everything was fine. You didn't seem relaxed. You should have been relaxed because it's your class and you should be confident. So during this course in Moscow, I had 8 assessed classes. I wrote 4 writing assignments. They were quite long and they were devoted to teaching, and they were devoted to different teaching issues. I had a lot of observations of my lessons, and observed much more lessons of some other students who were also of my group mates and of professional teachers of this center. I had a lot of hours preparation, and I don't even remember if I had any time to go for a walk, because all the time I had to spend all the time preparing, doing something. I had to write assignments during the night. I had to write assignments during the weekends, and the only thing my lunch was only 30 minutes long because before lunch we had the input session, after lunch we had the input session, and so on and so forth. But still, I'm really grateful to this course, to CELTA, because after this, I remember that my style of teaching started to change, and I started to be a teacher who wants to know why he or why she is doing it, why she is going to do it, what are the aims and objections, and what can be the input, what can be the output, what are the complications, and so on and so forth. That really changed me as a teacher. My next step, and it was very unpredictable from my point of view, was Fulbright scholarship. I applied for this scholarship in 2012, and it was a very long application form with a lot of essays where I had to write about my teaching experience, about my philosophy, about my lifestyle, about everything, about why I am the person who is to go to the USA, because Fulbright scholarship is one of the most famous scholarships in the world. And at that very moment in 2012, that was a little bit complicated. I had on that every year in 2012 I had TOEFL. I took TOEFL in Moscow, and I got quite a lot of points in TOEFL. And I had an interview in Moscow that was challenging, but I did it. And I waited for almost 8 months for the results, and only in 2013 in May I got the invitation to Lewis and Clark College. I spent 1 academic year in Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon, and the most interesting thing is that I taught Russian there, and I was a student. So what I got while being in the USA, and what I got, which helped me to be a developing teacher, to develop professionally and personally. The beginning, the orientation was in San Francisco, and it was in one of the most famous universities in the world, in Stanford University. It means that I got acquainted with some of the teachers of Stanford University. I got acquainted with a lot of Fulbrighters from really different countries, from Turkey, from Israel, if I'm not mistaken, from Brazil. What else? I got really unique experience of working at an American university as a teacher. Of course, I was a teacher of Russian, and that was absolutely natural because, I'm a native speaker of the Russian language. So I had a lot of classes of spoken Russian. I was responsible for different cultural events. At the same time, I was also a student. I could attend 2 courses, and in the first semester, for example, I chose history of the 20th century. It was mostly connected to the relationship between the Soviet Union and then Russia and the United States, and, for example, literature of the 20th century. That was really fascinating for me because I hadn't read so much American literature before, because I didn't even know such authors. Besides, I had an opportunity to work, to be part of an outstanding faculty, people who are devoted to what they do, people who are crazy about different languages, people from different countries, from China, from Spain, from France. That was really unique. I had the opportunity to feel the life of the USA, not just, for example, while you're traveling for 2 weeks and, you can see only what you can see what you can come across. But I lived there. That's why I took part in different events like curving a pumpkin curving party, if I'm not mistaken. I took part in a lot of trips with college outdoors, and I went hiking to really a lot of places. Besides, I took part in the conference in Washington, D.C. in December, and my speech was connected to teaching Russian through comics and through humor. That was really cool, and that taught me some interesting ideas. So, for example, presentation, my experience. Besides, I had the opportunity to travel, yeah, and that was really great and cool because I went to Washington, to Philadelphia, to Boston, and I had the opportunity to see all these places which I had seen before only in pictures in students' books. I also went to New York, and of course, I went to the Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty, and I saw everything with my own eyes. That's why right now I have the opportunity to tell my students what I saw, and to tell them about my emotions, about my feelings while I was living there. That everything is not so bad, and well, there are a lot of interesting things in the USA culturally and historically. Besides, of course, I went to Seattle because Seattle is situated not far from Portland, just 2 hours by bus, and I went to Los Angeles, which I liked really a lot. But I can say, not but I can say that Fulbright was the unique experience. It is the unique experience for me. It is still, because it influenced my life and my work extremely much. I still love the colleagues with whom I worked, and sometimes we can send a message to each other. I still remember the voodoo donuts, and I think that they are the best donuts in the world. And I still remember this motto of Portland: "Keep Portland weird," because it's really unique. My next step was course in advanced methodology, which I took in Moscow, but fortunately online. Unfortunately, because pandemic started. Last year in October 2020, I decided to take this course because I needed some more information about methodology. I understood that I was a little bit stuck at work, and I needed some more ideas to apply at school. That's why I applied for this course. That was really challenging because, first of all, it lasted 6 months. It started in October and finished in March. During this course, I had to write 12 assignments. They're kind of researches based on theory and based, and the most important thing that these researches, they were based on my experience. I mean, it means that, for example, today on Friday we have an input session in, for example, task-based teaching, task-based approach. It means that during the next 2 weeks I will have to check this approach with my students. Either I make a lesson, I plan a lesson and I teach this lesson, or for example, I just check some ideas and then I plan a lesson and teach the lesson and write about my what I got and the output and the results. So again, I had a lot of sleepless nights because I had to write these assignments at, after work, after about 11 o'clock in the evening. Though I met with a lot of with 2 great tutors, and I'm still in touch with them. I met a lot of interesting people from all over Russia because people are really interested in advanced methodology and in teaching English. I read a great number of books on methodology, and these books really helped me to understand what I am going to, what I'm aiming at, for example. And I started asking myself a question: why? Why I do it? Why I need it? Why my students need it? That's, well, from my point of view, that's the most important thing. And my next step was Delta. And right now, it's still my aim, because I've taken only 2 modules, Delta 1. Well, I would say that I've taken only 1 module, it's Delta 1. But what is it? It's Diploma in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. It's internationally recognized. It means that, for example, if we speak about CELTA, which I have already spoken about, it's a certificate with the help of which you can work in any country in the world. You don't need, for example, a diploma of this country, but if you have got the certificate, you will surely find a good job. As for Delta, it's the next level. It's not just certificate, it's diploma, and this diploma shows that you're a very knowledgeable teacher. You're responsible for what you do. You know methodology quite well, and you can be part of administration. It consists of 3 modules. They're extremely time-consuming. You will surely have to do a lot of work, reading, and preparation. As for me, it looks like MBA, but for teachers. And you know, MBA is Master of Business Administration, right? The same, because Delta mostly consists of different cases. For example, you have got this type of course of 20 hours, for example, it's technical English, for example, or English for medical students, and your students are elementary and they need to speak English quite well. What are you going to do? Or quite the opposite. You have got the materials, and then you will have to explain what you are going to do with them. I have already had a lot of times, a lot of opportunities to lose confidence, because the more you read in Delta, the more you read in methodology, the more you understand that you know nothing. And of course, again, sleepless nights. Speaking about module number 1, I took it in June 2021, I mean this June. Again, I had to go to Moscow because unfortunately it's impossible to take it in Ufa. So, what is it? It's advanced methodology theory. It's not practice, it's theory. The test lasted 3 hours with a small break. You can't take it in Ufa. Tasks, they do not like anything else. I have never seen such tasks. I have already mentioned that it's like MBA tasks. They're cases which, well, can really happen to you. There are very few previous years variants, unfortunately. It means that it's difficult to practice really a lot. You have got, for example, 4 or 5 variants, and that's it. And I would say there are no 100% correct answers to the tasks, because these are not the answers, but these are, this is the analysis of the answers of other students, and which answers are considered to be good, which answers are considered to be bad, or successful or not successful. And that's it. But I got passed in this in module number 1. That's why, for example, here, if you have an opportunity, if you have time, you can look at the tasks. The first one, on the one hand, it's the easiest, because you have got the definitions of some terms and you have to write down the term. And the most interesting thing, that this exam, it's not computer-based. It means that you will have to write everything, and they give you a lot of pieces of paper and you write a lot. The second task is you have the terms and you will have to define them. So the next one, the task number 3, for example, case. You can look through it when you have time. Task number 4, it's a case, and that was interesting for me because I'm also a senior expert in state exam. That was extremely useful, because that was another angle on assessment, because we look at assessment only trying to find mistakes. As teachers, we have to look at assessment a little bit differently, trying to find, of course, strength, of course, weaknesses, but also strengths. And strengths are more important because with the help of strengths, you can motivate the students to continue learning English. Task 5 was extremely long. It's just part of it because it consists of a separate paper with a lot of assignments. Okay, right now my deadline is December, the 1st of December. I'm working on course design right now. I'm designing course from kind of scratch, from the beginning up to the end. I mean, I will have, while designing the course, I will have to pay attention to my philosophy of teaching, to methodology which exists right now, to students' needs. I will have to give them a few diagnostic tests to find out their needs. Yeah, not just only from their words, but from practice. Then I will have to work out at least 20 lessons, and they should be worked out in detail. It means that there should be timing and a lot of such things. And I will also have to offer some testing variants, how I'm going to test their knowledge during the course and after the course, because my course is devoted to writing FCE. So, where do I do it? In my car, for example, driving somewhere. I can listen to different webinars. Of course, listen, not watch, or I can do it any place I want. For example, when I go for a walk with my daughter, or when I go to hospital and we are just standing in a very long line. So can I say that now I know a lot, or at least enough? No. Because being a teacher means a constant development. Okay, thank you for your attention.